And the first one I'm going to make for you is called a bread and cheese timballo, or il timballo di formaggio e pane. And we're starting with leeks. Get them washed and cleaned, and then you just want to cut small pieces, rings or half circles, and we are sauteing them in a little bit of olive oil right here. So with this, and I have about 3 cups of thinly sliced leeks, I'm going to add a whole bay leaf, just to give that a little interesting flavor. And then of course we always want to give this some seasoning, so just a little salt and just a little pepper. We're going to let that go until these get soft, because we're going to build the casserole right in this dish. So you want something that can go from the stovetop to your oven, because you're going to be baking this. So besides the leeks, we need to have cheeses, because I did say this is a timballo di formaggio e pane, bread. And I'm just going to get rid of my leek there for a minute. So for that, you want to take the rind off of your soft cheeses, and to do that, it's best to use a cheese knife. This is a cheese knife. Sometimes it's called an angel food cake knife, because it's also good for cutting up soft or tender cakes rather. So there's no rhyme or reason to this. You just want to cut these up into small little pieces. You need a lot of cheese because we're going to build a casserole using bread. And for this type of casserole, you could use a whole wheat bread, you could use a sourdough type bread, you could use a semolina bread would be good for this. So there's our fontina. Now we'll do our Swiss. And again, just cut it up in small pieces so that you can put it between the layers that we're going to be making. And now our Asiago. And Asiago cheese is a wonderful cheese for eating. It's a wonderful table cheese, but it's also a good melting cheese. And oftentimes you have it in pasta dishes. And depending on where you are in Italy, they take different forms, because the word timballo itself means to bake in a form. The word actually means drum. And so these can be made in spring-form pans, or they can be done in casserole dishes. We're taking the easy way out today. So I'm almost done with this. Let me see how they are in leeks, because I smell them and they're soft, and now I have to turn that off. And when the leeks are soft, you want to take out that bay leaf. You don't want to leave that in, because if you happen to get a piece of that, you could choke on it. So you want to make sure that you take the bay leaf out. Okay, I think I have enough cheese now. So let me just move that onto a plate. You want to mix them all up, because they're going to be going between the layers of our bread. So besides the bread, the leeks, you need tomatoes. And we're going to be using plum tomatoes. Here we have some nice ripe plum tomatoes, and you want to cut those up into thin slices. Everything's going to bake together at 350 degrees. So there's one. Make sure you're using nice ripe tomatoes. Best to do this in the summertime, I think, when tomatoes are really at their peak. Okay, there are our tomatoes. So now, let me move this over and bring over my casserole and build this for you. So, there are the leeks. They're nice and soft. And I need bread for this, obviously. So I want to make sure that I have enough bread. So let me cut some more slices here. I want to make about 3 layers in my pan. And this is good for using up stale bread. This is a great way to take care of any kind of stale bread that you have. Okay, there are our bread slices. So now you start by layering the bread right over those leeks. And don't worry if everything doesn't match. It doesn't have to. It's all going to be covered up. Let me get a smaller piece for the center. Simple. Now we take some of this cheese and we put it right over the bread, just like that. Our tomato slices right over the top of that. Isn't this pretty? And now we need more bread. So you keep building just like this. Before I forget, I want to add a little Parmigiano there because I don't want to forget that. A little bit of cinnamon goes on the casserole, gives it a really nice flavor, and nutmeg. Beautiful. Okay, now we put on our last layer of bread, a little bit more Parmigiano Reggiano grated up, just like that. Here's the rest of the cheese. Just sprinkle it over the top. And then we want to just give this some moisture. And for that, we're going to use some white wine. So a little white wine right over the bread, just like that, to moisten it. And I like to give this a little bit of olive oil as well. So a drizzle of olive oil. Your oven is on at 350 degrees. This does not get covered. So in it goes.